Welcome to the bright side of the ring. It is our first ever episode. Very excited about this one, Vito, because there's a lot of focus on the negativity in professional wrestling. You just have to watch Vice TV and their Dark Side of the Ring series. But while it is important to talk about stuff that's not so pretty, sometimes we need to talk about the positive stuff too. And that doesn't seem to happen often enough. Well, damn it, we're going to change that, hopefully, each and every week here on the Big V Mafia. Of course, I'm Brad Shepard, and I am joined by my co-host. He's the OG of the Five Boroughs, the whole deal, Big Vito LaGrasso. Vito, how's it going?
I am doing great, and I am the man of positivity and good thought. Every day I post a good message. Every day I post something happy. I hate to be negative. I'm negative very, very rarely. Well, you people see me bitch and rant about wrestling. It's giving my opinion. But you know what? I'm tired of the dark side of the wrestling. I said to Brad, I would like to come up with a new show, a new concept, because we don't have enough of this in wrestling. So I said, Brad, would you like to be part of a new show, a new concept? He said, absolutely. What do you got? I said, the bright side of wrestling. Let's do the bright side. Let's talk about the good things people do, and get away from the negativity and the dark and the gloomy and the ugly, because there are a lot of people in this world who do great things for wrestling. Okay. We are going to start off with our honorable mentions before we go to the so-called top 10. Okay? Brad, I'm going to give you my first one. It's somebody who never, ever gets any recognition. Okay? I'm going to start off with somebody who I saved, Mark Merrow.
That's a good one.
Mark Merrow. He does such great things for children. He's a motivator. He helps them. He helps them overcome their insecurities. He helps them be better people. He helps them with their fears. You never hear anybody say a word about Mark Merrow. What a good individual and happy man that is. I love that man. Anytime he puts something up, I think he put something up today and I answered it. Like, you know, you don't have to be something. I said, nobody likes the people who stand up for themselves. They only like the people who bow down. And you know what? If you stand up for yourself, you become a leader and a motivator. And that's what it's about. Mark Merrow, you are on our honorable mention list. Brad, do you have somebody to name to the honorable mention list?
Well, you know, just listening to you, Vito, I really am not sure if there is a better one I'm aware of that's not on that list, that top 10, than Mark Merrow, because he is, I think he's another part of that team positivity on Twitter, along with you.
I think
he's got a lot of very motivational, positive stuff. He does a lot of speeches at schools, right? Motivational speeches with young kids. I mean, he does a lot of stuff, you know, and it's not in a, you can tell it's a very well-intentioned way. You know, it's not a trying to get himself over. It's not
no, not at all.
Any sort of negative sort of intention. Like, this guy really believes it and really wants to do something to make a difference.
You know, just so everybody knows, I met Mark Merrow in WCW, and he was married to Sable. And Sable and Mark had a daughter. They let me meet the daughter. Very nice. And you know what? Everybody says what they say in wrestling, but you never let the boys meet their families. I have been very lucky because the boys in the business always let me meet their families. And I'm very happy for that because they always seen I was a good person, right? So when I met them, you know, and I met the daughter, and, you know, him and Sable were together and everything was good. It wasn't until, you know, WWE time, and then, you know, they weren't together no more for whatever reason. But for him and her, always nice, always smiling, always happy, you know. So that's my honorable mention. That's one of the honorable mentions today, because I think that guy is wonderful. I think what he portrays is wonderful, and nobody ever gives him no props. Go ahead.
I think that is an excellent point. You know, I think there's a lot of people like Mark Merrow in the business from, you know, maybe not today, but yesteryear. that, maybe they don't use social media like they do, like kids do today. But they're putting a message out there, and they've been doing this stuff for a long time. They may not be tweeting about it or, but at the end of the day, they are going quietly and doing these charitable things. I mean, the top 10 list, which I have not seen, by the way, is going to be very interesting to me because there's a lot of top guys who've done tremendous things, some that I think people are aware of and some that they're not.
Second honorable mention, who did not make the top 10 list, Dave Bautista. This past week, he adopted another pitty. I am so proud of that man because he went from WWE superstar. He had some trials and tribulations. Yep. He made it as an actor, as a superhero. I mean, he's doing tremendous things. And then for him to take the time to go to the local kennel and get these dogs and give them the best home ever, I think that is a tremendous attribute that you can't give, that you can give somebody. I mean, that's tremendous. Along with the other stuff that, everybody knows that he's best friends with Titus O'Neil. Right. And when Titus O'Neil needs him to say, hey, Dave, come and do something, Dave always shows up. Those guys are always together. And Titus O'Neil, there's another guy who does tremendous things, but you never give him enough credit. So Dave Bautista and Titus O'Neil, a combination of honorable mentions that did not make the top 10 list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Titus O'Neil is an excellent example. That guy is wearing the WWE banner all over the country, going to schools or whatever, and representing them, I think, in a very, very exceptional way. I'm very impressed with what he's doing. Now, one thing I took away from Titus when he was in the Tampa Bay Lightning locker room, I think after they'd won the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And in Titus, to me, he looked like he belonged in that locker room. He looked like he belonged with them. And then I remember Johnny Gargano and him going to visit the Cleveland Browns, where he looked like literally a child fan going to meet people like Myles Garrett. It was just such a stark difference in that. But yeah, Titus O'Neil is a guy who they can bring to these pro sports events, to these community events, because he does a lot for his local community. And he's someone that can talk the talk. He's very impressive, and he's a very good representative for WWE that, you're right, does not get enough credit.
You're absolutely right. The next person I'd like to mention, honorable mention, is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, every time a wrestler passes away, goes in his pocket and donates $5,000 so the guy can get buried correctly. I think that is one of the greatest things you could ever do, because the guy never gets any credit for doing that. Goes in his pocket. If I had the money to help every single wrestler that I've tried to help throughout the years, you know what I mean? I'd have to have a great income, or I'd have to have it like that. That guy has it like that, and he shares. Chris Jericho, you get an honorable mention for being a good dude, man. I love you for what you do, and you're helping out the wrestlers who don't get, you know what I mean? And maybe they can't afford a decent burial. They can't afford a decent thing. I think you're awesome for doing that, because that's something positive that people don't mention today. And I love you for it. If anybody ever sees him, tweets him, and says it, say, Vito LaGrasso loves you because you do for the boys, and it's never, ever recognized on a bigger platform. Thank you very much.
Yep. Certainly, I think the Bella Twins did a lot of charity as well, and probably still do. In particular, of course, John Cena, who's got to be in the list. Obviously, he was connected to Nikki Bella, so I would say that's part of the reason as well. But she's still continuing to do stuff with her sister. They made a big donation with Connor's Cure. And so I don't think that's something that got a lot of attention.
No, I don't think so. So we're going to go to our top 10 list, guys. Okay. Top 10 list. The Undertaker is number 10. Now, The Undertaker does a lot of great stuff. He auctioned off prizes. He customized the West Coast Chopper Bike Club. Despite his confrontational persona, he's a caring and loving man. Kudos to The Undertaker for taking the time.
Yeah, Undertaker has done a lot of work. Obviously, you mentioned the West Coast Choppers and him auctioning off a bike. That was to a veterans group So kudos to him. And then
All right.
he also established a fund to fund life-saving treatments for pets, and he did that along with his
Yes.
ex-wife Sarah. So very cool as well.
Very cool. Number 9, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan did something real cool. Okay. He donated his hair so kids can have
Mm-hmm.
wigs, which I thought was awesome. That's how he got his hair cut. We don't make
Yep.
too much of it, but Daniel Bryan was also part of Connor's Cure. He was a very big factor in that. Thank you to
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan for participating in that, because I think that is an awesome thing as well.
Yeah, I think Daniel Bryan or Brian Danielson or whatever you want to call him. I think he is just a genuinely nice guy, and
No, he is.
he knows who he is and what he believes in, and he he stands up for that.
So next on the list at number 8 is Randy Orton. Randy Orton is big with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and other countless charities. Now, Randy Orton also is a very good father. I think he has 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
5, right? 5 children, second marriage, good dude. Everybody has something to say about Randy Orton in other ways. But you know what, Randy? You made the list. Congratulations. I'm very happy. I'm very proud of you. I knew Randy Orton when he was a young guy. And you know what? Maybe you didn't get to know him as he is now as a grown family man, but Randy Orton is a cool dude. And thank you for doing good things with that. Number 7, you'll never guess who it is. One of my heroes, Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk Hogan, has proven to be a very, very well uh, organized, charitable person. He's auctioned off a lot of Hulkamania stuff. He even gave away his Dodge Viper Roadster,
Mm-hmm.
And when anytime there is some kid who needs something, he's always there for the Hulkamaniacs. And you know what? Everybody took their presence, said their violence, because that's what Hulk did. And you know what? I think Hulk got a shitty rap for something that happened in a privacy zone home,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't get enough good vibes. You know what I mean? And I think it sucks
Yeah.
because if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, Brad Shepard, myself, and every other American out there would not be watching wrestling today if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan.
I'm a Hogan guy through and through. I mean, that's who I grew up watching. He's my all-time favorite pro wrestler. And you're right. I mean, what he did with the Make-A-Wish Foundation alone was John Cena like. The only difference was he didn't get the credit. Why? There was no social media. When Hogan was on top doing this, there was no Twitter to talk about the great things he was doing. So he doesn't get enough credit, but he was doing a ton of Make-A-Wishes with kids.
And number 6, CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't get enough credit, and he was doing a Make-A-Wish Foundation, also did a charity called Kids Wish Network, which was very well known. And he's done the Kerrywood Strike Zone bowling tournament. And he's also done a lot of other things in the Chicago area, and CM Punk never, ever is mentioned in anything good as far as charity events.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody out there sees CM Punk, congratulate him for being a generally good dude. Excellent job, CM Punk. Excellent job. What do you have to say on CM Punk?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously very involved in charity too, and in giving back. And I think it goes back to who advertises that versus who doesn't, or maybe depending if you're doing it independently, it's not going to be as advertised. If you're not on a platform like a WWE, but yeah, I think, and that's what I look for, honestly, the ones who are doing the charity and you don't necessarily know about it, because those to me are the humble people who are doing it for the right reasons, and because they want to, not because some person in charge says, hey, come here, look at talk to this kid for 2 minutes.
Now, here's somebody who you just mentioned who doesn't do it for the say so or just being humble. Triple H makes number 5 with Daniel Bryan because he helped create Connor's Cure. And then did you know that Triple H founded a trust fund for the Triple H Trust Fund to have for a safe haven for underprivileged city children with high deprivation, whatever that means, if you're deprived of something.
Mm-hmm.
But the Triple H Foundation, and doing something for kids. That's something I didn't know, and that's something nobody ever talks about.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H, congratulations. I'm very happy to. And Triple H also happens to be a family man married to Stephanie McMahon. And I believe they have 4 daughters. So you have to be doing something right and have some kind of good qualities to have good. Number 4 on the list, Stephanie McMahon. So 5 and 4. Now they both did the same things. Connor's Cure. And Stephanie, she was just nominated for an award for go ahead. I think you know about it.
Was it something relating to marketing, right?
Right. Women's marketing or
Mm-hmm.
American women's marketing or something.
Exactly. Yep.
A lot of things get said about Stephanie McMahon. She's this, she's that, but she's always promoting herself in a positive way for the acceleration of women to empower and be something in this world. Congratulations to Stephanie McMahon for doing something great, not only for the WWE, but doing something for everybody to follow, to be a role model as far as a woman. Brad?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You know, she's presented herself as a legitimate business leader, and she's done a lot, obviously, in her role. And you can argue, hey, maybe she got the job because of Vince, but at the end of the day, she is controlling a wrestling empire along with her family, and that is impressive.
Number 3 on the list, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Vince has donated money to the Greenwich Alliance for Education. He's donated $3 million to Sacred Heart University in Fairfield. He's donated another $2.53 million to build tennis center at the Young People's Community Center in Pennsylvania. Now, Vince McMahon has been in the public eye for a lot of years. He definitely does not get the credit he deserves because of his persona on TV and for what people say about him. Mm-hmm. But Vince McMahon, I know, does care about children and other people. Congratulations to Vince McMahon for doing something great. Thank you. Number 2, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. The Rock. The Rock has done stuff with a number of causes, including AIDS and HIV research, Parkinson's disease. He has also started the Dwayne Johnson Rock Foundation, which does support for other programs that enrich the lives of children. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is always doing something on Twitter with his kids and doing something positive. They always do something great. I mean, what do you think about that, Brad?
I think it's tremendous. The platform that Dwayne has is, it's just absurd. Like, he can influence a lot. And so him being able to have that platform and promote good causes and charities is a really cool thing on a personal level.
No, it is. And number 1, like you said, John Cena was number 1. John Cena has been doing everything. He answers for the Boys and Girls Club, Special Olympics, Answer the Call, Susan G. Komen Foundation. The list goes on. He's donated out of his own pocket 9 million frequent flyer miles that he's accumulated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and $4.5 million more dollars in 2013. He's donated over $500,000 to help the fight with California wildfires and become the 2018 recipient of the Sports Illustrated Muhammad Ali Legacy Award for his philanthropy. Now, we just named a lot of great things, guys, and this is just the start of our show. I just wanted to give you a sample of what we're about. This is the Bright Side of Wrestling with Brad Shepard and Vito LaGrasso. That is it for today, guys. This is just a sample. I hope you enjoyed our platform and our show. We are going to do more of this stuff. Brad, go ahead and take it away. And if people don't know, Brad sacrificed for all you kiddies out there so we could do this show. Happy birthday to Brad. Brad, take it home.
Oh, gee, thanks. I'm 43. I feel like 60. I'm just kidding.
Positive.
No, I'm doing well. I appreciate that, Vito. Obviously, we appreciate your support and listening. We hope you enjoy the show. You can follow Vito on Twitter at The Big Vito Brand. You can follow me on Twitter at It's Brad Shepard. That's SHEPARD. Tell your friends about us, patreon.com/Big V Mafia and the BigVitoBrand.com. We will see you next week.
You know, today, I just woke up and I said,